right, good to go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome. For those of you that are coming in or watching the recorded version, thanks so much. Also, I wanted to quickly say for last, what is this, number 6? We've had about 5, a little bit more. They weren't named this quarantine lulz drawing stuff, but I appreciate everybody sharing and all the stuff you guys have been doing. The kind words. It's good to be doing this again. Being able to actually have the time to stream and to share and talk with everybody. It's been great. I've been listening to some of your guys' stories too. Couple of closer friends of mine, anyway, that were creatives, or that are creatives, I should say, losing their jobs as well with everything that's going on, and starting up streams and commissions, personal projects and stuff. It's bittersweet, and I wish you guys all the success. I hope some of them will pop in today too, and if not, that's cool. I wanted to say before we get into the drawing, I'm trying to think if there's something else I can do to help spice this up. I had a lot of fun when Will was on, and we were just chatting, and the chat was pretty engaged. People were asking Will a lot of questions, which is awesome. And just in general, there's a few people that I still need to reach out to that I'd like to just. I don't want to do an interview show, but I do think it's kind of cool to have other people's voices as well. So I'm looking into starting primarily on Patreon first. For me, people that are patrons, I give a little bit extra love to because they're the ones literally throwing some cash my way, which is great in and of itself. But I'm thinking of opening up maybe like within pockets a window of time, just to come on the show, just to casually just shoot the breeze, get questions, anything like that. And some of the people that I know that are professionals that you guys might not know too much about, I think it'd be cool to have on here too, to ask them some questions, and just to shoot the breeze. There's a couple of Comicsgate people I would like to talk to as well, just to hear their side of things, and a few other people that I used to work with in the past that I have a list of people I want to message. Just getting it all set up and doing that while maintaining, still trying to do this. So what we're going to do today, or what I'd like to work on is, so this right here, this little guy, there's nothing crazy design-wise for him. It started off as a sketch last night, and we're going to go ahead and just color this dude up in my simple color style. This is for Godslayer. I have an idea where this dude will show up. He's more of a throwaway character. He's not meant to be anything special. So what we're gonna do is I already did the drawing. I'll quickly kind of show the process of that as well for those that are interested. And then we're going to work on another drawing for a birthday present for my niece. She had a birthday on the weekend, and because of the way the world is, sadly can't go, or wasn't able to go see. I'm not sure. I'm getting this audio bitrate thing, so if you guys are listening, let me know if there's anything wrong. I'm just going to unplug it and plug it back in. Here we go. Should be good. I don't know. Sometimes what ends up happening is it's like some people were saying it sounds like a robot talking. Can't have that. Anyway, so we're going to be doing that, doing some color here. And then the last little plug I just wanted to bring up, this is something that I've had going for a while, but I'm not sure how many people are actually aware of it. In case you're not, it's super simple. There's a link right on the screen here. That's a bit.ly link, so bit.ly/jarmail. All it is just a little mailing address that you can subscribe to. I send it out usually once a month, once every 2 months if things are getting real busy. It's just like a consolidated list of things that I've made that month. Some Patreon stuff is included, just a little bit, not a whole bunch. But the main driving thing for this is if there's a whole bunch of, if you just want to be, if you're interested in all the stuff that I'm kind of doing, just hit that. There's no spam that really goes on yet. But what's cool is why I really want to start pushing this as well is I think it's a great tool, and I've kind of slacked a little bit on it with integrating everybody, so you don't have to worry about, if you care, you don't have to worry about like if I release a brush or a tutorial or a video or the comic or process or just posts or things that I found interesting. You'll just get a little blast once a month, once every 2 months or whatever, just sort of talking about that, so you won't miss anything. Especially when we got coming up here, ramp it up for Godslayer and what we're gonna do with this and all that cool stuff. So anyway, that's it for today. And like usual, I'll bring that up a few times as we're streaming. So get ready for that to be going on and on and on throughout today. Okay, so let's go ahead and start through the scribbles here. Also, I've printed out on my wall. You can't see. It's this here. It's the cover for JESOP King issue 2. Where are we going for that? I can't remember. Comics, personal, JESOP King issues. I'll just bring up the inks because this is all I printed. So I printed this out and I put it up on my wall. And this is sort of a reminder. I was actually re-listening to a couple. Hey Drew, welcome buddy. I was re-listening to 2 of the streams I had that we did last week. I don't know who re-listens to stuff they make, but one of the really cool things about YouTube is you can document what you've been doing in the past. And I was able to go back and watch some stuff and kind of hear where my headspace was at. And we've been talking a crap load about style on this channel for I'd say probably about like 6 months now. And I just had a realization and a clarity kind of thing of just going, step back, man. And when I was working on JESOP, I was really hitting some strides. Time wasn't so much of an issue necessarily, so that's going to play into it. But I have strengths in working in this way. The newer stuff I was kind of going into with the Kirby, the Bruce Timm, Corey Lewis, I was even bringing a little bit of that. I love a lot of that stuff, and I think there are little things that little nuggets I can bring back into this. But this here, I have such a shorthand way of drawing it, and there's a speed that comes in that because I've always been drawing this way. The anatomy started getting more Capcom and more pushed, for sure, over the few years that I was working on this. But anyway, I printed this out and have it up on my wall. We're just going to stick with this, and I'm going to do my damnedest to just push out style or distraction styles, I'll call them, because really the name of the game right now is just volume, and we want to be knocking out content and volume. I don't want to, hey Jack, welcome. I don't want to keep getting hamstrung over style. It's such a petty thing, there's arguments and discussions I'd love to have about them, because I'm very interested in process. I'm a huge tutorial and process junkie. I'm always trying to see if there's ways to like navigate that to like gain maximum output. But what I inevitably find is the more shortcuts you're looking for, or at least I'm looking for, or ways to streamline my workflow, it ends up taking more time, or it's more distractions and prevents me from actually creating more stuff, right? Sorry, I just got a text there. So anyway, I printed that out. It's on the wall. So that goes into what we're doing here. Let me just bring this back up. As you can see, this looks a little bit different than the cover. It's similar in a lot of ways, but it has added black in shadow. Now, this, where I first sort of saw this rough style, was Ryan Otley. I love a lot of this stuff. I'm trying to figure out, again, a shorthand for rendering. Rendering adds so much time, but this style of rendering is very quick. It's like scribbly, and I like it. It's got like a little edge to it. You know, it's got a little bit of whatever. And then even when I'm dropping in the black shadows, we're just like hacking in areas of shadow. So I'll just quickly show you guys some of that there. So we start off real quick gesture, big chunky thick anatomy. I always like that, right? Just weird columns and cylinder shapes. So we get our tight line art in here. Let me just JESOP snoring. So we get the tight line art. The workflow is very similar to what we've always been doing. You guys all know how this one works. If not, feel free to ask. I can always show you guys. And then just adding a quick contour layer over it, right? This is just to get us started. And let me just get rid of the underlying. So now we got the clean lines. What we'll do is I like putting on just a quick pass of line weights, just to help separate some of those forms, right? So if I turn it on and off, it gives it like a little bit of punch, a little bit of character, just with that. And then we're going to go ahead and I put in a quick shape for these fire columns and stuff around them. And then just the rendering and shadow. Just to show you guys one more time how that kind of works, is I have a monochrome layer and a dry brush pen. And I just sort of like, instead of doing shadows like this, like nice curves, I'm pretty sure we'll end up doing that. I sort of think of it like hacking in like this. Okay, so like if we were to do the pecs here, and if I kind of go light with, if I go light with the touch here, you can see how you can get like this really cool dry brush looking effect. And what I really like about that is it just adds a little bit of texture to it. And you'll see once we add color, most of that goes away, I find. This is more of a make it more enjoyable while we're inking kind of thing. All right, so we can go here. And then all you do from here is, or what I like to do, just grab the exact same line art brush, and you just sort of scribble in. All you're doing is you're doing like waves. That's the way I look at it. You know, it's like you're making waves like that. The tighter you get, the closer they get. You can go longer with them. Use a thicker brush as well. But sometimes I'll start like this. Like, here, let me just flip it so it's easier on my wrist. So I'm just trying to think like, okay, the curvature of the shadow here, and then eventually we're going to just carry it into shadow like that. All right. And I find if I go too fast, they kind of get a little wacky, but that's pretty much it. And I mean, if you wanted to add more in there, right, like you could just scribble it in. It's not, I'm trying to keep it rough at the same time to keep that energy in there and not care so much about it looking crisp. That's never been something that I've been a fan of. Anyway, so that's all done, and then you know, you'll get your version here. And you'll, if I zoom in, you'll see what I'm talking about. You see where it's like right here, especially. See, it's all like white in there. But when you zoom out, it gives it like a slight traditional feel. But again, once color goes in there, it sort of like just fills up anyway. And then I'm most likely going to put some shadow in there, so you won't even really notice it. John, I picked up Clip Studio recently. Any tips for getting me started? The guy's looking great. Thanks, brother. What? I'll throw it back at you. What are you having struggles with? Or like, I don't think there's anything you're missing out that you need to set up before you get in there. Clip Studio is amazing to just jump in, grab a brush or pencil, and just start going it down. I feel like once you learn like the simple stuff of making a layer, right? The super easy stuff of making a layer, drawing on layers, that kind of thing. If you're that new to digital, once you get your footing on that, it doesn't even matter. You can just grab these things like the starter pens and pencils that come with the software. They've all been great. I've seen people using it and they don't even change brushes. They just keep using the same thing. Jack saying style is something I have struggled with a lot. I think the best thing to do is let it grow on its own. Don't force it. Focus on making stories. Style, yeah, I'm in the same boat. I agree with it, but it's very hard to stick with. So that's why I just wanted to give that little shout out in the beginning. Okay, let's get some color in here. I've been really trying. Oh, I got something else to show you guys too. But I'm really trying to use this Comics 128 thing. The Marvel color swatches that they used back in like the 90s comics and the 80s. Just for color samples, because I'm getting like colors that I wouldn't really necessarily use, like tints of them anyway. So some of the work that I'd finished over the weekend, people asked me to do some character designs. Like we actually did one, I think, last week. So this dude, Bad Vibes, this is what I'm talking about. You see these colors? These are all the color swatches picked from the Marvel one. So it's like there's color in here that I wouldn't necessarily push, but it's also, I feel like it's constricting me in a good way. Like I can only pick these colors. Doing an actual comic this way, I'm a little hesitant on. I'm not 100% sure, only because I feel like it's restriction, and with restriction comes creative solutions, but at the same time, you can pigeonhole yourself. And then the other opposite side is if you have limitless options, then you can get stuck in that analysis paralysis kind of thing where you don't know where you should go, right? So here's a good example. This dude, John Henry, I've never heard of this guy. I'm pretty sure he's like a dude. He's got his own stories or something. But to me, the guy read and he kind of wanted like the Hulk with like some stuff. So I love that. Anyway, you can see real quickly, like this green is very flat. And even the arm, like the black color of this guy, and then the simple blues and things, they might be, I might have tinted them or hue shifted them into a way that was less of that Marvel thing. But on the same hand, when I look at it, it has there's something about it. I'm not quite sure what it is, but there's definitely something there that I enjoy. So anyway, yeah, so we had that, and I didn't do this, but I wanted to try this. So just pardon me 1 second here, guys. I wanted to see how this would look with this paper texture put on top. So I have a suspicion. Yeah, I'm just gonna shrink it up. All right, let's take a look. Yeah, see, like there's something extra to that that I really enjoy. Right away, what I can notice that I think this simple style is missing. It's probably just like the simple literal line weights and some simple shadow, right? If I quickly put on here, and so for these character designs, I just wanted to bring it up real quick because I wanted to show you guys this. Is if you guys didn't watch the character design stream that we had last week, it's all about just simple things. Like I'm not trying to make the most beautiful art with this at all. That's not the goal. The goal is to make it clean and simple to see so that when whatever artist is doing commissions from this, or if they're turning this into a comic or a movie or an animation, right, you can just see, okay, there's the pants, that's what the boots kind of look like. And then I've started putting these color swatches in there so people can just pick the actual color here, right? Like this green feels a little cartoony, and that might be what they want. I'm not sure, but it got approved, right? So we're good. But anyway, you see what I'm saying? Like you just add like a little bit of that, it doesn't look as bad. And it might just be to the shadows, because I wanted to mess around with another thing with shadows, where it's like you add like a second pass of shadows just to push it. That's what I'm going to try with this one today. This guy right, or not this one. Let me just close all this up. This one. Can anyone stream on YouTube, or do you need a certain amount of subscribers? From what I know, as long as you got an account, I don't think they block or ban anything. Could be wrong, but pretty sure you can just do whatever you want. And I'm using OBS. Yep. Ben saying I was using some brush presets. I've got some of yours and some from Dave Raposa. I actually picked up some of Raposa's on the weekend as well. I'm not too sure how to make custom presets. Do the brush and pen tools have any distinctions? Do the brush and pen tools have any distinctions? All right, well, quickly what I can talk about is if you see over here, these are all like, when you open up Clip Studio, it'll have things like this, right? Like if you click this, you got pencil, pastel. I don't even know if you guys can even see that. Let me see. To clarify, I figured out how to load the brushes in CSP, but it looks like you've got some custom packs that you've assembled. Oh, yeah. Okay, so here, let me bring this whole thing down here. That's not what I wanted. 1 second. Go up here. Actually, can I shrink all this? All right. Well, wish me luck here. All right, so this is what like my brushes look like, okay? Can you guys see that? Yeah. So when you look, you get these when you start with Clip Studio: pen, marker, ink, paint, right? But what you can do is like, let's say there's this brush. I'm just going to drag it down here to this new. And on my second monitor, let me bring it over here so you guys can read it. We'll just name it Delete Me, okay? So to make a new brush called Delete Me, you can click and drag that brush. It'll take it out of these presets. And you see how I can move it around? And now it just gives me a whole new column that I can add brushes to. And I think if you right click on that, settings, you can name it to like YouTube. So now it'll be colored, right? And so why I like to do that is when I download people's brushes, I usually just make a column for them, right? So Raposa brushes, or that way I have their raw brush files and then I can adjust them. So let me see if I can shrink these out so you guys can read what the hell they are. Oh, you can't. Ugh, yucky. That might be better. So I have like these ones were Friendin's brushes. They're just the pencils and dry media, right? Like I have them all in there whenever I need to go digging for something new. And then the other ones that I did was, this is for when I'm doing 11 by 17 600 DPI comics. I normally just do 300. So all of my settings are there. These are all like pretty much duplicated in here, just increased sizes so that if I'm working at a different resolution, I don't have to adjust the tools. They're the same tools, just at the appropriate size they're supposed to be. And again, this was some other stuff like ink wash, and whenever I do my chibi characters, these are all the settings, because sometimes like with the chibis, I like super smooth lines. So a lot of these brushes, they're similar to the comics ones, but their stabilization is like cranked to max. So I get real nice clean lines. Got tech pens. This is stuff I'm just trying, right? Like new hotness, I don't even go in here. Microns that somebody did. Microns and I think brush pens. Let's go. This is another one I was starting. I've got my Kirby ones here. So, it's kind of like you go back and forth, and that's all that really matters. But again, you can just customize any of these that you want. There's nothing preventing you from doing anything. Another thing I guess I would say is I like to use actions. And in Clip Studio, you can mask these to like F keys, or you can just click them and they'll do something, right? So if I wanted to make a new, I call it an onion paper, kind of like the new transparency, I can just click that, right? And it does this. It's got my new layer, and I can just get drawing right away. Or I could press F3, and it would do the same thing because I've set it up to do that already. That kind of stuff. It's just more optimizing your workspace. That would probably help. I never would have figured that on my own. That's exactly. Yeah, don't worry. You're gonna find a lot of that. I'm finding things out that I didn't even know. One thing I wanted to say, and we'll try with this too because it's pretty simple. Is a I don't know. So when I do this stuff, I like color. Color is very expressive and poppy and emotional, right? Like it helps line art. But at the same time, I'm kind of considering putting tones on here. Let me open up a test I did on the weekend here. This one. So check this out. I was actually watching a Dave Repose, and that you bring it up, a video where he was talking about how he uses tones and scrapes it in and all this kind of stuff. And there's a definite look to this that I like. And I don't know if I would go this far with it because it has like an air of realism. I would say like there's like value in here, and I'm not quite sure if this is where I want to go. But there's some really neat tonal passes in here. Like you can scrape this stuff in. And what's really cool about Clip Studio too, right, is like if I like this one, I can just copy that layer, right? We can paste it in here. And since it's all working on masks, I can just delete that mask and then start drawing in where I want my shadows, right? So this is something I'm considering, and I'm not 100% sure if we're going to go that way. There's a lot. There's a lot you can do. And I would say too, I'm going to be posting, like I've been debating making like an 8-page or 6 to 8-page sample script, just to test some style out. I don't even know if it needs to be that long. It could be 3 or 4 pages, to be honest with you, just to see if I like the color or if I like the cross hatching and the tones. And if I do, then I'll make the decision to go, okay, pull the trigger, and then we're going to go forward on that. So anyway. All right, let's get some color in here. So this guy's fire. I like maybe his skin being a little darker. It's pretty good. All right, we're just going to do some fills right now just to get, and then we can worry about specific colors. Like this bright ass yellow. I don't know if we're going to use that, but we can still toss it in. So how's everybody doing? You guys all hanging in there? Everything going good? All the family, everybody healthy? Have you guys been working on any projects or anything like that? I'd like to start showcasing some of you guys as well during the streams. I don't know if it's at the beginning of the streams or if it's towards the end or just throughout. I remember if you guys have ever seen Keenan Lafferty on YouTube, on his fan page. I don't know how he does it or if it's just been something so ingrained in his community where people post to his wall or something like that, or a specific wall. And then he just does like a little slideshow of people's art, and I've always liked that. I thought that was very, very nice. That way you could find other people that might be similar in style to you, or where you might feel like you currently are, development-wise, right? And who knows what kind of friends you could meet, or you might see somebody's art that you actually really like and give them a follow and that kind of stuff, right? So we'll see what we can do. There's lots of ideas. You know, it's funny. Even just so we were just talking where I was saying like I feel like a little limited of the color palettes and stuff. There's something about this stuff where I don't think like I would have picked these kinds of colors. It's very interesting. What I'm thinking with these colors too is like these Marvel colors is like it's a great starting point, and then still adding like a pass for like how I do shadows with like that purple or blue set on multiply over top with the paper texture. Get some interesting stuff. Ben saying, yeah, he's all about screen tones. They're kind of awkward to use in Photoshop, so I'm hoping to get used to them. Clip Studio, they're so much easier, dude. Like, this is the one thing, and I'll just show this for everybody else too. That changed how I approach using them. Is just use like your marquee tool, whether it's your lasso or your rectangle, doesn't matter. Just make a shape, right? You see how you have a selection on your bar that comes down here? There's a tone button. You just click that, and you can set it up. And you can always adjust this later, right? But you can just go, okay, maybe I want like the typical circles. Go, okay, cool. And now you got that tone. What I can do is on the right here. So let me just see, so I can see what you guys can see. Yeah, you can see it. Okay. So once you have that, you can go up here, and there's all these settings you can do, right? Like you can go frequency, right? Like if you want bigger dots, smaller dots, whatever. Density, how thick you want it, right? Maybe you want like, I don't know, something like this, whatever. You can also go back in and, oops, let me go down here. Circle, right? Like you can change it again if you wanted to go back to something else. Go to noise or whatever, right? So you can just go there, and then once you like it, sometimes what I'll do is I'll have a bunch of those everywhere so I can kind of see them. But since it's working on a mask, you can just delete the mask, but that layer's already been created. And then you could just, if you want, just grab a brush and just paint them in. See what I'm saying? Like, to me, it's so much easier this way. Okay, sorry about that, guys. We good? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, real quick, what I wanted to say is like, so you can paint this stuff in, and you can always adjust it, right? So like, let's say I think those aren't actually. Let's put a multiply. Yeah. Anyway, so you could have that, and you go like, obviously those dots look too thick, right? So you can go back up and make them smaller, reduce the density and stuff. See what I'm saying? Like, that's what I like about it, is they're always adjustable. So delete. Oops. Delete that. Okay, let's keep going with these guys. Ben saying, oh, good point. I think that effect is called Moir. Have you seen? I haven't seen that. I'm not quite sure. Oh, sorry. Ultra Joe is saying I've tried in Photoshop and it looks weird when you zoom out and resize the dots, create a really annoying pattern effect. That happens in Clip Studio too. I don't know if there's a way around that just because it's pixels. Prakash, welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're well. I have been good. Just started getting notified in my email again. Okay, that's good. Working on sculpting Warrior Rapunzel. Right on, dude. Paul Fry, I think you are muted, or is it me? I don't know. No, I was muted. Yeah, I was talking to both. Whoops. Okay. Let's just lock in these flats real quick. I just realized, why am I doing this so slow? Like, let's just fill this in. What am I doing? It's like I'm going in to make sure this is all specific. I forgot what software I was using. So, Clip Studio doesn't care. You just grab your paint bucket and just drop it in. Alright, go here, go here. Keep the holes in the fire. Yeah, let's fill it. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, go here. Alright, so with his hair being this way, or his fire, I should say, or whatever, you want to have these nice, juicy, bright eyes, but I don't want them to compete with the fire. So maybe what we'll do is let's start fiddling. Maybe we go like an orange or something. PJ, welcome, brother. I don't know. I think I kind of like the yellow, like that bright ass yellow. So his eyes, maybe that we can go like an orange. Yeah, what about white? White always works. Let's do white. Okay, so what I've been doing, and this is just for a test here, so let's save it up, is I like to grab, I actually don't have any, I need to go on Amazon or something. Do I have? I have floppies, but they're in the attic. Let me bring up my Google Drive here just to show you guys. I like to look at John Romita's X-Men, John Romita Jr.'s X-Men from the 90s. In particular, I think it's issue 300. I remember getting that at a corner store. It has like a holographic cover on it. Still remember it to this day, and I just love that comic. But there's some really cool style effects in there to sort of capture the 90s look. Like I said, we're going to add some more shadow and stuff to this. But let me just bring it over here to show you guys. Cool. Oh, and this too, I should talk about how I got these. Is I'm fortunate, right? I'm very lucky. I got an iPad Pro to draw on, one of the bigger ones, and I don't think I do anymore, but the Marvel Unlimited app, right? So I just load up these comics and I just start screenshotting the whole book, and I just upload it to Drive. So I get some pretty juicy high res images, right? Like, that's kind of shady. But anyway, what this lets me do is I can study from this, but this is what I'm trying to look at. I'm using the same swatches, but do you see what they're doing with this explosion? I don't necessarily want to copy it, but this is what I like to have on the side, so I can see how they're just blocking in color like that. Because I'm still trying to use the flats like that, I'm just trying to add a shadow layer to kind of bring it together. Not quite sure how it's going to look, but it's interesting. So I got a whole crap load of like issues here that I enjoyed. And what I like to do is what you're seeing here is just scroll through and try to find effects or things that people might have done. Like this is a good example of something I thought was really interesting. There's actually a gradient in the background here. And then there's like this little hot spot here. To me, and even right here, it's very odd. I'd have to check, and even the clouds. I don't know if this was I don't think this is the original version that went out. I think this is like the digital coloring on it. Because I'm pretty sure, unless maybe this was just at the time when Photoshop was kind of coming out, where gradients started coming in. I don't like it. I don't like the look of it. I much prefer like just flats. Where like a shadow is a shadow color. There's no like highlight necessarily. If I'm making sense. Let's see if I can find like this stuff I don't like. This in particular, maybe it's just a style. So maybe this issue is like a bad example. I'd rather have, man. There's this one really sick shot with, like I love this man. I'll never forget this page. But you see like Bishop here, like check this out, man. This is slick. Look at that gradient. Boom, 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 right? Like it's chunked in. This one's even cool. It's like getting the I beam coming out like that. There's something about that that's real sexy. And it's sort of like you see how they've got like a different color here. That's what I'm trying to do with the multiply layer. You see if we can still kind of keep that. Even this, like look at this gradation. It goes light blue, mid blue, dark blue. There's no, and it's not really ever consistent, right? Like look at Bishop down here. He has no shadows or highlights on his arm. Some here, but not back here for the yellow. So it's inconsistent. And it's hard for me to wrap my head around to do the inconsistency part, so I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to do like even this pink, this energy is sexy as hell, man. It's to me this is like comics, like why I like what I like about comics. It just has like a I don't know. There's a simplicity and a clarity to it. Like I can look at this and my eye knows the shape language and stuff too. And I know the art definitely pays in this because it's not the same. Not everybody looks at this and likes it. Like even this highlight being white. I don't know. It's just simple, clear, and I would like more of that. And I know this doesn't necessarily, especially this panel here, doesn't really resonate well with I would say modern artists and modern tastes. Could be wrong on that, but just the amount of comics I see, I don't see anybody really doing this anymore. For the most part, I'm sure there are. I can't see everything out there, but anyway. So what I'm looking for is I kind of like this energy look. I don't know if that would really work well with our dude though. Like if I were to put it in here. Either way, let's keep looking for some fire. I know there's a double page spread of them breaking into a building. Like even this is really cool too. This I wanted to look for Alice Sanders' whip, right? Like how is not necessarily how is Ramita drawing it, but how is the colors kind of tackling it? And this is where some of the shortcomings come in that I know digital could really help. Is like this kind of effect, like that's fire, right? Like, but it doesn't have like pure fire. Like it's not bright. Like I know I could go in there with like an overlay layer and just punch that up, just give it that flame or put an effect over top. Right? Like even this guy's arm is like kind of getting lost in the rain, that pink, but it's an energy. So it's like again, it's just trying to figure it out. Let's figure it out, figure it out. Okay, now where's this one? How are they doing fire? Such a sick double page spread too. Yeah, see it's just yellows and oranges. And then offset it with like a blue. Even this, a lot of the fire, look at this, like I'll tell you this, when I've been coloring in this style a little bit so far, is doing this is weird to me. Drawing in white. It's like the first thing you learn in coloring, or at least I did in the tutorials I was reading and stuff, is like never paint white or black. There's so many other colors to use that you don't need white or black, but when you're doing comics. You know what I mean? Well, maybe yellow, white is the way to go. Strat. Let's get some white in here. The background's probably not, is probably throwing it off too. Alright, so let's go here, make a new layer, we'll use white, and one other thing too, I'll keep saying one other thing all the time, is I know in the examples I was showing you guys, like they would just do like a big chunk, right? Like just do it like that, just get the white in there. I think we can get a little bit more finesse with still working with these chunky shapes. I could be wrong. But we'll try it out. What about you guys in the chat? Do you guys like PJ? You gotta love those '90s comics. Does anybody in the chat? You guys grow up on '90s comics at all? Or did you guys all grow up in like the age when Photoshop was really already going strong? Like I would say the Image days and like Spawn, especially. I've seen a lot of Image or Marvel comics in particular. DC, I'm not. I don't have a huge affinity for, so I like missed a whole chunk of comics from them. But Like I definitely remember late 90s, early 2000s Photoshop comics where everything had like a glow. There's dodge and burn and overlay layers up the yin yang. It was like everybody had all these effects, they could finally use them. And some look really good. Like don't get me wrong, I really like Spawn was always really good. And I think once you start getting into that kind of effect stuff, a different sort of colorist can be brought on. I would argue the style that I'm working in now, it's pretty complicated. You have to take like what you know about color theory and break it down to just simple things. It's not just, okay, here's what I think this would look like and throw it in and make it work. There's still a lot of things that need to be put in there. Yeah, I like the way this looks a lot. I'm looking at the second monitor, man, and like, this looks fucking gas. Pardon my French. I know it's like nothing. It might even look like somebody doesn't know what they're doing. Like, who's filling in with wipe? My God. To me, this looks like the direction I want. This is definitely what I want. This is good. This is what we want. That high energy. Another reason, just to sell it to you guys even harder, that I'm looking for this kind of thing and why I'm digging it so much is because time is definitely an issue. And it takes so long to draw a comic book, let alone everything else that goes into it. Promoting it, writing it, scripting it, formatting it, right? Lettering. Like if you're doing what I'm doing, where you're doing like the whole thing, it's a lot. So you gotta get your shit straight. Oh, whoa. Bring back the high school memories of spending my lunch money at the comic shop. My man. All right. You're in good company. Drew saying I grew up on 80s, 90s comics. Some of the stuff is hard to look at now. It is. It is. Jack, mostly Photoshop coloring. Spawn was my favorite. It was mind blowing. Yeah, I would say the one, it was still Battle Chasers for me. I think the artist's name was Liquid. At least that's the hashtag they always went by. They always drew like this stuff. I remember trying to, a long time ago, I'll actually use the same colors we got here. No, let's use the appropriate stuff. I remember trying to learn how to draw like this or color this way as soon as I got a tablet. But my limited knowledge for color and how that would work really hamstrung me. So it'd be like, let's say they always started with like a darker color. So like I'll even go to even darker. And then you just start adding highlights, right? And there's like a color ramp that I had no idea. And you guys don't know what I'm talking about as soon as we do this. Let's just do like a highlight like that, I guess. This is probably one of my favorite styles of coloring. I don't do it that often, but hopefully you guys can already tell what's happening. And we'll just keep going up that color ramp. Whoa. All right, and then you would, and this is just super primitive here, but, right, like that. If you guys remember that, that's like coloring everywhere. Load of fun. I mean, you could always go back into and just add like a little bit of purple because it's blue. It'll look good. All right, really push that back or whatever. This kind of stuff. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. Takes time, and I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, Battle Chasers to me when I started seeing that. Battle Chasers, I talked to that to death. We don't need to keep talking about it. Everybody's just blowing up about the 90s comics, eh? Dennis is saying, sorry, I grew up with European comics here in the 70s, didn't read US comics in the mid 90s except for Mad Magazine. Okay, alright. PJ, one of my favorite things during high school was Mark Bagley's Spider Man. That was a great comic. He might be one of my favorite. It's tied between him and John Romita Jr. for my favorite Spider Man artist. Prakash grew up with Top Cow. There was a local store I used to love, sold mostly their stuff there. Yeah. Top Cow I felt was like too adult for me. The darkness was scary. Rube, welcome. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. Yeah, the X-Men 300 was the first comic I ever picked up, and I fell in love with comics ever since then. Found the Jim Lee X-Men #1 and knew I wanted to be an artist ever. See? Dude, issue 300 was so good. Wolverine fucking guts that guy with his claws. Just the color, too. Like, I don't know. It's light, it's airy, it's fun. I don't know. One of the things I don't like a lot about modern comics myself is like, and if I had somebody coloring my stuff in the way modern comics are, I'd probably love it. But it's like everything's, I don't know. I'm not saying what you're looking at is hot shit. To me, I'm digging where we're going, right? But it's just clarity is what I like. It's just or maybe I'm just giving an excuse as to why I like this. I don't know. All right, let's try to get like an opposite here. So if he's red, we want to go, what was it, blue, right? Red, blue, yeah. So I just want to put something in the background here just to block him out a bit. Whoa. I don't want all that saturation though. Hey Nimrod, no, not late yet. We'll use this blue. I like that. I like that a lot. Also, some comics called Ninja High School from a game. Oh no. Yeah, Ninja High School. Oh, what was the other one he had? It was like a cheetah girl, right? Gold Digger. Forget his name. He colored, you're right, in the same way. Lobo by Bisley blew your mind. Drew, growing up, I loved Jeff Masuda's Kaboom comic. I remember Joe Mad's Kaboom comic cover, too. Yeah, it was really cool. There was a lot of really cool stuff in the 90s, man. Towards the end of the 90s, I would say, too. I think that's when, like, video game artists, I would say people that were getting inspired by, like, Japanese in general started really showing up, and ideas started really flowing with comics. American comics, I would argue. That's why I'm so fond of those ones. Okay, so we got this. This is just a quick example, I suppose. Let's actually grab some of this, and I'm just going to put some more particle effects. And this is, once again, I know there's new people coming in and going. More of a test for Godslayer. I'm thinking of putting this guy in for like the quick, like he's throwaway, like I said. Maybe we'll keep him. I don't know. But kind of like I say, a style test of how do I like it. The real test comes in when you're doing comic pages though, because there's a lot of environments and stuff in there, right? And backgrounds and serious colors. Just one of these pinups doesn't really count. Okay, so what we're going to do next here is we're going to drop a new layer, and this is where I'm sort of modernizing it, I would say, or at least kind of doing what I'm doing here. So I'm just going to pick a color for now. We're going to select that on multiply, and we're just going to turn off all the layers but that so I can just clearly see where we want the light or the shadow to go. I know his skin or his hair is fire, so maybe what we'll do is we'll try like a different kind of shading. We'll do like a center kind of shadow. How's that looking? And try to be quick with this too. I think it just helps a lot of the aesthetics of it. And so once we block in the shadows, we're going to go ahead and grab my magical watercolor brush to blend some of these things together, just to give some edges a soft edge to it. And then we will add our paper texture to it. I love it. It just adds a little extra something to it that just, I don't know, been a fan of it since I've been using it. And then this one's done. I'll be posting this on Patreon too for the $10 backers. So you guys can pick away or grab my colors or whatever you want to do. It'll be the Photoshop file and the Clip Studio one. Actually, let's do this. This might make it a little easier. Let's just... I'm going to start hacking in more solid shadows here. Sometimes it's easier to just work this way, and then normally, I think the appropriate or the right way you're supposed to color is shadow, and then you paint in color or light source. You add your light source. It's difficult for me to do it that way, only because when I was being taught or shown how to do shadow, you're working with a pencil. You can't shade your whole image with a pencil and then erase light. It doesn't work that way. It's you're building it up out of a sketch, right? So eventually it's nothing, then it's line art, then it's shadow on top. So I approach lighting as if I'm penciling it in. That's why like a good example would be like this arm. I couldn't just like do this whole thing and then I mean I could I guess cut out light, but I don't like the way it looks. It has like a I don't know, I'm not a fan. I like to cut in my shapes of where the shadow is going to be. It's a personal taste. Just fill that in. I feel like when I do this, I get like organic kind of shapes, like chunky shapes, shapes that look maybe a little bit more as if they were drawn with like a pencil or something like that. And I wouldn't lie when I said this. Sometimes the shadows can start looking a little like, okay, that's not how they would look because I'm doing it this way. All right, let's get under here too. Fred Perry, that's it. Thank you. Thank you. That was the name I. Oh, man. And then once we're done this, we only got about, I don't know, 10 more minutes on this or something. We're going to go and work on a birthday present for my niece. She wanted me to draw a pinup of one of her characters. And I'm pretty sure it's a furry, so I'm not very good at that. But she gave a really sick reference sheet. And I'll show you guys too. She's getting real good. You guys can check out her stuff if you're into it. I don't know if she's still posting on YouTube or not. I don't think so. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, let's get underneath the shoulder, and I think we're zoom out, take a look. Something simple. Actually, let's cut out just a little bit here, maybe down here, maybe something like that, maybe. My phone. Cool. Okay. So I like to just duplicate this layer just in case, so I can always go back to it. And then we're gonna pick our shadow color and go to smooth watercolor. And what we're doing here is we're trying to find the lines that aren't part of. We're smoothing core shadows, not cast shadows. So the bottom here, we'll smooth that up. And I'll erase some of this too. So go here, here, and just erase that. Whoa. Maybe something like that. Alright, let's turn the color back on. Right. Something simple. And then one of the last tests we'll do, like I said, was we're going to put the, what's it called? We're going to try with tone. It's very simple. Once you get in this shadow, I found that I can just like copy the selection and then fill it. You'll see what I'm talking about. Maybe the other thing too is I know they do this a lot in these old comics too. Is you just sort of get the highlight and you just sort of like, whoops, you just sort of like put it on a layer, and very boldly you just draw in where it's going. Yeah, I don't think I like it. I think on the legs it looks sharp. I don't know. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Okay, let's get the paper on there and then try one other thing, and that's it. Oh yeah, look at that. What I like about this texture too is it just adds like kind of pops the color a little bit too. Like it adds a little bit to it. Hey Jack, yeah, it will be. Yep. Jack's asking if it's a creator-owned comic. This one will be. Yeah. This is just a test. Like I keep saying. I like it, man. I think it's got a simplicity. Like I'm looking at my second monitor, and like as an example, I'll just show you what I'm talking about. This is the kind of stuff. Whoops. No. No way. Whoops. Like you could do stuff like this that immediately makes it feel a little bit more, I guess modern. Maybe a screen. Add glow I like. Right, where you can really like just punch up this fire. Like I'm really blowing it out here, but or like just to show an example, you can push it and it'll look great. It always adds that, but like just the simplicity, I like. It's very easy to see, right? And if I was just to take like I don't know this, just drop on a balloon, like you could see it. It's not a Where's Waldo kind of thing. See you later, Prakash. Have a good one, brother. Um, you really saturate that shadow too. Yeah, that's got like a Capcom feel. Oh man, look at that. Actually, I wonder too. Maybe this is where I'm noodling. I got to be careful. I'll put that back on multiply. If I was to put the shadow in the fire too, right, just to get like a little bit of depth or something back there. Nah, it's fire. There's no depth in fire. Yeah, okay, that's cool. All right, I like that. Let's save it. Let's put our Siggy on there. And then is this like a Silver Surfer style character? No, no, this would be a I guess like a generic monster demon that Alessander would fight. Well, no, nothing. All right, save that up, and then we're going to file save as a different version 2. Turn that off. All right, now check this out. All right, we're gonna make that fire white. Whoops. All right, we're gonna shut off all this other stuff. fill that in white. And I don't know, I'm going to just make it like a gray background for now. Alright. So I'm just going to use, actually, let's grab this. Let's see which one we want to use. That might be cool. So grab this. I'm just going to paste in the tone, delete the mask, turn off the shadow layer. I'm just going to select all the shadow we just put in here and then fill it in there. See what I'm saying? You can get like a quick tone in there too. Let's put on our paper texture. Like, I don't mind that. It might be a little too dark. Could just lighten it up. So this is what I'm talking about. There's so many different ways of approaching this, but it's good for me to have it, and I can just sort of. This is a lot quicker because all you're worrying about is like pushing and pulling shape, and this is just one pass of this, right? So like, I could go in there and do what would be another one. Yeah, maybe we'll bring in this noise. And maybe we just go in there and just put like a little bit more of a coarse shadow in here. Yeah, maybe something along these lines kind of thing. Alright, let me save that up too. Export that. Actually, this is me noodling one more last time before we get out of here. Or not get out of here, but do the next thing we're going to do. I'm just going to merge all the color here. Just so this guy's on his own thing, right? And if we duplicate it, mask it, go filter blur, Gaussian blur. So we duplicate so I can get the right colors over here. This is a little bit like an animation look. You go over here and you go to like screen. See how light he just got? Like, that's good. So like that would be normal, then we'll just add like a little bit of a blur to it. It kind of like brings the colors to light a bit. So many choices, guys. Fire monster A. Cool. Okay. Which one did you guys like? Let me throw it out to you guys. Do you like the original, A, B with an added a hint of glow, or C, tone. So A, original, B, with just a hint of glow, or C, tone. Curious. Alright, while we're doing that, actually, I think I saved a file for her. Art, commissions, April. Alright, I'm going to bring up her art here so you guys can check that out too. So you guys have an idea what the hell we're drawing. April. Character's name's Cookie, in some sort of jungle setting. Probably sitting by a waterfall. Okay. So copy this. Oops. So this is the character we'll be doing here. I have a few ideas of how I'm going to tackle this one. Everybody likes a little bit of a glow. You guys are killing me. Let's see what we got here. Ultra Show, damn, I like C, but I don't trust 100% of the patterns. I know. You'd have to like print them out, to see it. Alright, let's get rid of that. Alright, so I'm just going to put this over here so I got that reference. So she got her in clothes. I don't know if the character's naked with... How's that go? The tail? Okay. Alright, well, let's get to it. We can worry about how we're going to get there as we get there. Alright, let's delete a bunch of these layers. Group, thumbnail. Alright, so we're talking about like around a waterfall or something. I don't think I'm going to go too dynamic or anything here. Like a traditional. It's a female character, right? So maybe add a little bit of, maybe, okay, let's maybe they're interacting with something. Kind of like where this one's going. Or it's like the perspective's like something like that. Maybe we can add a little bit of sauce to it. I don't know if this character likes flowers or not. Plants and stuff. Alright, I think we're getting somewhere with this one. Just got a little bit of a feel to it. So copy that, paste it. Alright, let's see what we can do with this image here. Do something simple with like a platform here. Probably put like some rocks. We get that waterfall back like this. We put more of those plants down here. Some framing. Boom. Okay, I think we're there. I think we're there. Oops. Maybe that way? Yeah, I think that works better. Let's do it. Okay, we'll go there. Make a new one. Thumbs rough. Jack man, I will never understand furries. I don't really get it either. I think it's just, if I had to guess, just the appeal of like maybe why, like, would Ninja Turtles count, or is furries just like literally anything with, it's like the same thing, but it can only be like with characters with fur. All right, let's see how we can do this. How's a line art? Maybe too thin. That'd be good. Maybe like that. So make sure. So keep some. I know the body will help with the feminine stuff, but there's a lot of little detail in this one. Technically, TMNT are furries. Okay, that's that's the thing that I keep trying to remember. I'm like, is furries just like animals doing people things? Is that like the simplistic version of a furry, or is furries they need fur? It's the same thing, but it can only be applied to things with fur. That part I don't know. Like animals doing people things, I can get on board with. I just feel like maybe furries is like the subgenre of that. Basic definition is a humanoid animal, I think. Okay. We're going to keep that hair or the head on a separate layer because I feel like this is going to get Wild Town in a second. All right, let's get this body. Yeah, it's hard to know the specifics. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody's got their thing. I don't know if like in the case of what we're talking about, like Ninja Turtles, the difference there, right, is I would argue they're more masculine. So if that's the appeal, where it's just like it's fine. They're ninjas, cutting and slicing and stuff. Okay, it's kind of working. I got some. Trying to spice it up, dude. All right, let's get like some sort of plant or something in here. We'll put. All right, let's get that. Let's connect the head. I might make it a little bit bigger just to cuten it up a bit. I know she got a thicker neck, I think. Alright, let's add there's a lot going on in this drawing. Like details and stuff. Alright, see if we can get them. Alright, so she's got a lot of hair here. So a lot of hair is going to get covered up. Or ear, not the hair. I mean, I guess Looney Tunes are all pure fear. Yeah, that's never thought of that. Maybe it's just what I think. If maybe to just keep pushing it. What if we went like that with that? Yeah, I think I like that. Maybe it's just what a lot of people draw furries kind of doing or something. Might be. What the hell? Oh, wrong layer. TMNT is nothing to the furries. It's all about sexualization, humanization of animals, most likely. Well, that's the part. Like, I don't know if that's true. That's what I'm saying. If that's what the subclass of this stuff is that's what furries mean? I mean, to your point, I do see a lot of that in furry artists that do that stuff. So you might be onto something. Okay. So we're going to have fur coming here. I actually like this leg design. I might steal it for one of my own things. It totally looks like a Kirby kind of thing. Alright, what other design? Okay, there's this huge ass tail. She's got a pattern here too. Alright, let's put a giant tail in here. Hey Euro, what's up, brother? How's it going? How did the character design for the Moonshine turn? It turned out okay.
Like I know designing simple characters is little, not my thing. But this is how they turned out. So this was Helen here, a little pixelated here, and then this guy. I'll be right back, you guys.
Alright, sorry about that, everybody. There we go. Life stuff. Let me catch up here. Everybody's leaving? That makes sense. It's okay. If you're still here, Euro. Yep, no, everybody. Luckily, all the designs that I did got approved and people dug them. So that's the best you could ask for. Okay, let's draw. All right. Where do we leave off? With the tail? There's some spikies in it, I think. Yeah. I think that's it. Looks like an earring we got to put in here. Actually, let me check something real quick. Okay. Sorry, I just needed to check the reference. Oh, not the reference, an actual image that she made. Yeah, there's a collar. Alright, I might end up. Hey, PJ's still here. Might end up I might be drawing her naked, which I think is happening without my intent, but it's okay. Alright, let's draw the background in here too. I want to put like some rocks and stuff. I'm wondering, I might actually just ink this. I was thinking maybe I'll ink it like with just a brush and ink it instead of doing the line art and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know if she wants how I draw style, you know what I mean? Maybe we'll put like a rock sticking out here. I think everybody that works from home, nobody's going 100%. It's too many distractions. Your intent might be there, but I don't know anybody that works 100% at home. And I don't think people are not working 100% because it's like free money, I can scam it out. It's hard. If you got kids or family, right? Like they're everywhere. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. It's getting somewhere. All right, I think we're good. All right, what I might do though, instead, let's keep on track. So let's do our line art. Actually, if you guys just bear with me for a second, I want to adjust something here. My onion paper layer is it's not good. Well, it's not that it's not good. I want to make it a little bit more or less transparent. Might be the word I want to use. You went really strong for the first 2 weeks. I believe it, dude. I totally believe it. How do we record a new one? Button mode. Let's turn that off. Let me see what we got here. So advanced fill, 85 opacity. So if I was to make a new layer, fill it with white, set it to 95. Yeah, that might be the way to go. Maybe 90. If the stream dies, it's because we got a thunderstorm going on. So FYI for everybody. Maybe, what do we do? 93? trying to find that sweet spot. 93 might be the way to go. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So we're going to make a new action here. So start to record. Add new. Okay. So we're going to call this, I'll just keep it the same, F3. Onion paper. And we will record. So what we'll do is we'll make a new layer. Oops. New layer. Edit. Advanced fill with white. Yeah, we don't want that. 100% white. Okay. Okay. And then we're going to go here and set it down to 93% opacity. And I'll make a new layer and then stop it. Alright, let's give it a test. Oops. So hit F. Whoops. Perfect. There we go. So now whenever I press that, it does that. Just makes an adjustable opacity layer, which is what I want. And I had it here before, but I just want to adjust the bright or the make it so it's less see-through. I was noticing as I was drawing more complicated things, it was just a little too much. So when I was drawing tight line art over top of it, it was getting a little confusing. It was hard to see the image itself. So what we'll do is we'll go up here, click that, and whoops, button mode. We'll delete that. Move this back up here, and then we'll go edit. Our file shortcut settings, auto action. We're in my comics. Onion paper, edit shortcut, F3. Cool. And then the last step is we are going to export. I like to export this stuff so that you can always, if something were to happen in Clip Studio or something like that, or if I go to a new computer, these are all my master file stuff, so I can just go in here and put it in there. I thought I had one. Weird. Okay, so go new, auto actions. Save. Cool. Alright, we're good. Let's rock and roll. So I'm going to be looking at April's reference here to make sure and try and nail this character as close to kind of what she had it as well. Put a little of my own flavor in there too. So I'm drawing this hair. I'm trying to think of like big chunks of hair, and then we can always go in after and add like these little wispy ones. Especially when we go into inking, so much of this can get adjusted. But I try not to ink too heavily on hair, even if it's black. Especially if I know it's going to be colored. Because color can help so much with this stuff.
this really cool hair pattern she put on here. I'm gonna try to sneak it on like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can erase it. And it's got a cool ear piercing. Let's get that in there too. Something like that. All right. Yeah, I think it might work. Maybe? I don't know. Some of these commissions, like the one I'm doing right now, they're taxing, man, because I don't draw this kind of stuff. So it's exciting because it's like a learning opportunity, right? Like there's definitely stuff I can bring in from this to what I normally draw, like just the anatomy. But like these, I call them horse legs. Very difficult when you don't draw them a lot. It's like I can draw a human, right? Like with a kneecap, the calf, and like a foot, no problem. I've done it so many times, but it's like I don't draw animals clearly enough. I know this is fur, but we'll put a little anatomy in there. Why not? Alright, now we're going to draw like a flower, but use a brush here and sort of invent something. Then we're going to turn this to line art in a second. Actually, here, so I can see what the hell's going on too. Okay, so F8. Okay, at least we're moving along pretty quick with this one, which is good. I'm just going to draw on the tail, and we can add all the fur and all that cool stuff after. Okay, I think, oh, forgot the legs here. Let's grab our Kirby brush. Just easier to make patterns like that. How's that looking? There's a lot of patterns to to her skin here, or her coat, fur, whatever. That we'll do when we get to the color stage. Alright, what is that? It's like a skull. Okay. Let's move this over a bit. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, I'm just going to make a layer here to make sure all the lines are complete, so we can add the contour layer, and then we'll add the background, and we'll get into the ink in. So earlier in the stream, this is sort of what I was talking about, of getting the style thing out of my head, because of how, like, I would argue this has gone pretty quick. And that's just the mileage of working this way. And that's should be more important than how it looks, I guess. I like the way it looks, but I mean, one of the main reasons for style changes, either trying to implement or learn new things from different artists, right? Or not being satisfied with the way you draw. But comics and storytelling mediums reward volume as opposed to how good the draftsmanship is, I would argue. Where are we going here? Here, and here. Yeah. Let's make our contour layer. Just going to move that underneath everything. And I'm just going to bump this one up just a little bit for now. I'm not sure how thick we'll make it, but it's good enough. Right, so for those that aren't familiar, the whole reason you do this, though, is like, oops, what the hell's all, oops, right. So if I wanted, I could just take her and move her around. I don't know why there's this layer down here, but it's a great way to always adjust, being able to always adjust your composition. It's nice to be able to do that. Try something. There we go. Okay. Let's make it a background layer and a character layer. Oh, hey Prima, how's it going? Welcome.
PJ, with that heart on her chest, she's like a furry Care Bear. Although now that I think about it, I think there's symbols around their bellies. Were they? Nah, I gotta check now. I guess, I mean, yeah, it's their belly. But they're like all belly. They don't even have a chest, so I'll give it to you. Okay, and I haven't done this in a little bit here. So I posted this the other day. Oh, did I close it? What a winner. Okay, let me just open it back up. If you guys look at the bottom of your screen, or on the stream, there's a whole bunch of links down there. So this, if you just follow the link at the bottom, or you can type it in your address bar, it's bit.ly link, so bit.ly/jarmail. And basically what it is just a mailing list that I send out once a month, once every 2 months, around there, just letting you guys know all the stuff I've been working on. If it's new brushes, tutorials, videos on YouTube that you may have missed, just sort of like a consolidated list of stuff I've been putting out that month or every 2 months. If you're so inclined to see all the stuff I'm doing and things that might interest you. And I'm trying to build this up because I've heard it's a great idea, especially when this doesn't allow me necessarily to rely on other services to reach you guys. So if something were to happen to Twitter or YouTube, or if I just the fact that I don't need those to communicate with you guys is awesome. And when Godslayer drops, I'll be ramping up a little bit of the mailing list kind of stuff there too. So anyway, you can just go in here, jam your email, and hit subscribe, and that'd be awesome. PJ saying, I tried using the contour layer trick for the first time yesterday. Do you merge your line art layers so you can just move it around, or just select both layers? Can you see this or not? Let me see. Okay, my face is covering it. Here, I'll show you. Okay, so my contour layer is right here. I just renamed it characters. So like if there's a bunch of characters, I would just name like Cyclops, make another one for Wolverine, that kind of thing. If you want to do that, you don't have to. I like doing sometimes like how close characters are. Sometimes characters are grouped together, like hugging or something. I would consider just that an outline. But if you open it, look, I got a whole shitload of layers. And so the contour layer is here, the knockout layer. And the reason there's a knockout layer, just so people can see. Or here, let me back up. And then all the line art is in there. But the knockout layer still lets you... let's turn this off. With the knockout layer, you don't need a contour layer, but you're still able to move your characters freely around if you wanted the ink over top of them. So when I'm selecting it, like sometimes what I'll do is I'll turn everything off, so that there's nothing in the background, right? That way when you select your wand tool, you can select everything. Or there's also another thing. Let me just clear this up, or else I know this is going to turn into a hot mess. So in your wand tool, there's different selections. Current layer, right? It's the first layer you have, or all layers, right? And in here, if you go down to your tool properties, there's an additional feature which is really cool. Is right here. You can check refer multiple. So here I have all layers, but sometimes what I'll do is I'll just put layer in a folder. So if I have, Wolverine, Cyclops, that kind of thing, and I have them in their own folders, it doesn't matter what's going on in the image. I can just select it, and anything that's in that folder will be selected. And then I would run my action to turn that into a contour layer. Does that make sense, or is that a little gross? If you want, I could give you an example. Like we could do one real quick. And I'm going to be wrapping up in about 15 minutes for today, guys. We got lunch coming up. We're going to be knocking this stuff out. Tomorrow, should be streaming, unless something comes up. And it looks like outside of Patreon commissions,
we don't really have any client work lined up. There's some stuff coming down the pipes, so it sounds. So we'll be getting back to that, but now what I'll be doing is shifting more into Godslayer and making some calls, which I'll be doing later today. Not streaming. We'll talk about it tomorrow during the stream, because I'm hoping what we'll be able to do is I need a script and stuff, right? Like writing and all that cool stuff. I don't think it's great for streams, especially when, to me, there's just too many distractions. Even though I think people might dig it, I'd love to go over the scripting process with you guys after it's done, but I don't think it makes a lot of sense to do it before it's written. So I've got some scripting to do, but I want to be able to make sure that there's something going on so that we can do artwork tomorrow. But I need to maximize the amount of time I have. So I'm hoping there's a stream tomorrow. It'll be around the same time. But it's a little hard to do when the project's still so fresh. So this week might be super light on the streams until I get a script going, because one of the debates I'm kind of going around with in my head is what I started with this stream talking about when we did the little fire demon there in the beginning. Is I'm not quite sure if I want to start with a like a 4-page sample, just to see how the style looks and all that, and post it on Patreon and post it online and all that stuff. Not to gauge interest, because that I don't care about. That'll come later. It's more of how do I like how it looks kind of thing. But I know character designs need to be done, and maybe a couple, not pinups, but along those lines. So that might be what we stream about. Or, like I said, taking this week off to do the script. Because if I don't do the full, you got it? Okay, cool. If I don't do the full 48, or I'm assuming it's going to be 48 pages. And the number, that magic number I put on Twitter, and I asked because a lot of the Comicsgate cats, when I reach out about asking about just magic numbers, and it seems like a lot of the Comicsgate people, not that other people don't, but a lot of them seem to have like a formula that seems to be working. And I agree with their formula for the most part of not doing necessarily graphic novels because they just take too long to make. And not doing 22 pages comics, 22 page comics. And 48 has like a bite, like a chunk to it, where it's a good chunk of a story. And the idea is releasing, hopefully, like people back it and support it, is probably like 2 to 3 Kickstarters a year. And you could tell your story in almost like a small mini graphic novel kind of sense. Right? That'd be around 150 pages, give or take, right? If you're to do that. So I like that idea. I like that. And 48 pages it's enough to, it's a little less than what I was doing with JESOP King. JESOP King, the webcomic there, which you guys can read online for free. That was like, I think 56, somewhere around there. So it was up there. And it was a lot of work, took a lot of time too. So anyway, that's where my mind's at. So I'll let you guys know. If there's no stream for tomorrow, just know that that's what I'm working on. And we will get to comics very soon. And if you're a patron, thank you. What you guys will be getting, you'll be seeing more of that than I think I'll be streaming. It'll be interesting because I know streaming is going to be light. What I might be doing is not streaming and just doing recorded videos with commentary again of like a panel or something like that. That way it's still, you guys can still check it out. Still kind of going back and forth, because with JESOP, the whole idea with that one was I just wanted eyeballs on my stuff. Whereas with Godslayer, I would like it to be something you guys might be interested in buying to read, right? Like, I don't know how many pages we'll put online to read for free just to get a taste. You guys will see the art as I'm making it, right? So it's not like it's going to be totally a mystery. But on Patreon is where I'm going to document more updates of how it's coming along and stuff. So if you guys are into that, you'll dig that. Okay, so I think she stands out here. PJ saying, I think it would be pretty hard to focus on writing a script while streaming and paying it. It's, in my mind, it sounds like a nightmare. Especially the way that I write. Like, I can't just jump into a script. I need to do, how's that look? That's fine. I gotta plot out beats and stuff. So I'm pretty excited because it's like a refreshing change of pace. I like to use the note cards and all that kind of stuff and kind of sit on it for a little bit. But the only difference, I guess, that I was doing with JESOP was I had the idea that as I was drawing it, I was sending it to Marvel and DC editors and any editor that I could get in front of. And it was creating content that I could continually send them bi-weekly or something, so I wasn't spamming them. So that I didn't always have to do like a Spider-Man sample or something. It's, just showing people that I'm working in comics and still making them. Right? But the difference now is this one, the whole intent of this one is to finally take a dive into the world of crowdfunding, which is super intimidating, to be honest with you. And I know this probably sounds silly, but I'm going in with full intentions of it either not succeeding or underperforming what in my head I might have like an imaginary idea. A lot of people I've talked to, like you're not going into Kickstarter, I don't think, to just like make bank. If you do, great, but the cost from a few people that have shared numbers with me, right? Like it's very high. You could see something sell for like 20 grand. And you might walk away with a couple grand. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. In my mind, the point of it, at least for now, is to make a book and to help get it printed. That's the only cost I'm going to have. I know a lot of other people, when they're working on stuff, or if you're getting teams together to do stuff, it's like you got to pay wages for people, right? Like you need to hire a penciler or an inker, or if the guy does it or the girl does it all on themselves, write a color letter and all that stuff. I think the only thing I'm going to pay for is an editor, or hope to pay for. And then I'll do, once and if it gets funded, then I can worry about doing lettering and stuff, right? Once the letterer is on board and can help fix some of that stuff. I have a friend. I think he can do it. He can help me out. But even the costs for editors, I've seen they're like thousands of dollars, man. It's no joke. So we'll see. And on like I say, on Patreon is where I'd like to document most of that. It's not. I don't intend it to be like putting it behind a paywall. I'm sure I'll share most of it with you guys anyway. But it's just a little way for if you're interested in what I'm doing, kind of thing. That's the place to be. Let's get an eyeball in here. There's going to be a lot of color effects added to this. Especially the eyes. Because you can get some really cool gradients and stuff in there that just make it look more cute, I suppose. Might be the right way of saying it. Like a lot of the stuff I'll do with my chibis and stuff is like once you add, what's it called? The big chunk to things. You're not just going to use your Battle Chasers font. Oh, so far, yeah, I'm not looking at that. Corey Lewis posted a link to a site. Excuse me. Where you can make your own font, and it actually looked really good. I might look into that just to look at it, but for the most part, like if that doesn't work, then yeah, I'll be using the Battle Chasers font. I just meant doing the lettering after the editor looks at the script and the dialogue and stuff. Because sometimes big things can change and having to redo all that kind of sucks. inking brush is this? This is not the right inking brush. What is this? Is it? Yeah, it is. Okay. I'm used to like a tilt. I wasn't seeing it. Do you have eyebrows? No. Hey, Eric. How's it going, brother? Can't stay. Want to jump and say hi. Well, hello. Hope you're doing well, brother. Prima. Do you use vector layers, John? If not, how do you handle with the transformation to include pseudo paint? Doesn't it blur too much? I'm not comfortable using vector. I do not use vectors, no. I know a lot of people do. Well, a few people. I don't think a lot of people use it. But I don't transform a lot. So I don't really have to worry about that blurring issue you're talking about. A lot of the transforming for like scale and size, I usually figure out in this step here, right? Like we got our thumbnails, like it's whatever. And then right here when we're breaking it up, this stuff I don't care. I can transform, scale, whatever. But even in the line art stage, it's really not much transforming going on. I try to figure that out super early because of the exact reason you're saying. I would also say too, though, like if you're not going too brutal with the transform, if it's going to be colored, a lot of that kind of disappears too. So a lot of the imperfections you might notice in your art when you're doing just line art and inks, kind of like what I'm doing here, will disappear the moment you add color, or make it less brutal, I'll say. I've been all right, yeah. Art's going, good. It's given me a lot of free time to be able to draw, get back to the streaming and stuff like that. The scary part, I suppose, is the employment after all this starts to wind down. I don't like the doom and gloom kind of stuff, even if stuff is a little scary out there. But I like checking out multiple sources of information, we'll say. And the stuff I hear is, we're buckling in for a while. I don't know how the world's going to be the same after this. If you went to a 9-to-5 job like I did. I think it's good to be hopeful. But like my job for me, my day job, I got laid off. And I think that's mostly just the way design goes. You know what I'm saying? Like, design's so disposable until you need it. And then when you need design, you need, like, the best. Yeah, so it's like this catch-22. It's like you're only in demand when people need you. Everything else is, you're expendable. Which is, it's a sad realization, but it's true. So, all that being said, I'm using this opportunity to hopefully build up a little bit more what I'm doing, like with you guys or just an audience in general. That's why I'm interested in trying the Kickstarter or the Indiegogo route. Because if there's an audience there that's willing to toss me a few bucks a few times a year to make a book, you know what I mean? And like that's, in my opinion, that's like the friggin' dream, man. If you could live off of 2 or 3 crowdfunding things a year, making your own books, like, you wouldn't need to work anywhere else. Right? Like, I think that's just, not everybody wants to be that way. Some people like working for somebody or with people, right? I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just, I guess, looking to see if there's a chance. Because right now what's happening for me personally is like, I'm trying to just make sure I've got money coming in. I've got mouths to feed, myself included. Not that I need to eat anymore, but right, I got Alexander now, right? Got a baby, got the fiance and stuff, and with all that's going on, when you lose your job in Canada, you get unemployment insurance. I believe it's only for 15 weeks, right? So if this is going to go longer than it is, which I'm assuming it will be, maybe not being stuck at home, but trying to find a job after all this is going to be brutal. Right? And like I have no qualms going back to work at a retail place or a factory if I have to. If you have to, you have to, right? So I'm trying to think, okay, well, instead of just waiting for all that to see what happens, this is like, and this goes for everybody else too. If you guys have been laid off, or if you guys are, if you still have your job and all that, I would seriously consider really busting your ass to push your art stuff through, because on the other end of all this, great example, there's that tweet that's going around, and I've said it a bunch of times, where people were talking about, like, a lot of people are trying to just get through this thing, and they're all looking towards entertainment and stories and music, right? Art. So artists always have value when shit gets bad. When things are fine, it's just like, it's forgettable. So at the other end of this, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity, and a lot of indie things are going to be start popping up, whether it's Kickstarter or otherwise. I think right now is a very good time to be a creative, so long as you're creating and you're trying. That's all. If you're trying, there's an audience that's out there, because they're all stuck at home, right? So why not try to say hi to people and build an audience up? Eric is saying, yeah, things are very up in the air, but hopefully we come out on the other side. Yeah, yep. Yeah, I'm trying to get my mental health better so I can get moving personal projects. I've heard some things too online, like especially during this, and I can't relate because I'm not going through it, but I can, I hope, understand it. Like, mental health is a huge thing right now, especially for people that are having depression and anxiety before, and now you get all this where it's like things are super uncertain. I get it. The only advice I would have, I guess, and it's probably unwarranted here, but like, if you have those things, is I don't think you can really, you can do what, like you're saying, Eric, where you're trying, and never stop doing that. But if there's some way you can just cry or fearfully get through and just push while doing the fear and the crying, making your comics or whatever you'd like to do, music, right? Because no matter what, nothing's really going to change quickly. And at least while you're doing that, while you're still going through your experience and all that, you're making something. So there's at least something gained in that time. But at the same time, I guess I wouldn't worry about like a time pressure thing. Like, it's not like if you're not acting now while we're all like in quarantine and shit, that you're missing your chance. I never look at it that way. You can always start. That's all that really matters. I'm just suggesting that I think now is a really good time for artists. Because, I mean, within the last 2 weeks, there's 6 people that I know of that we chat and stuff that are creatives lost their job. So look at it this way, too. There's going to be a lot of creative people at the end of all this. I'm going to get going here. I just noticed the time. But there's a lot of creative people at the end of this that aren't going to be working for people, that are going to be doing their own thing. And this was the thing that gave you that little boost, that little kick in the ass to take yourself seriously. And because right now, right, like with all the fear and stuff that's going on, or maybe before this, when you're at your job, you're like fearful of, well, if I quit to do my own thing, like there's a lot I'm losing. And if you're in my shoes, right, like, well, that was just taken away like that. So now there is nothing to be afraid of. You're already in the shit. You know what I mean? Things only get better. But they'll get worse too. But they'll get better. That's 100%. Anyway, thank you guys so much. What's that? No, don't worry about it, Jack. I appreciate it. It's all good. I was able to squirrel away some money too. I've been smart. So we'll be okay. We'll be okay. And like I said, at the end of this, if I can get a job as a garbage man or washing dishes somewhere, like I have nothing against that. I don't value income or the position you have as greater than what I am, right? Like, if I need to feed people, like, I'm not gonna like it, but I'll still, I have nothing against it. If that makes sense. I know some people that they wouldn't flip burgers if they worked at a major comic book company, because they've already set they can do that, and they're not. It's beneath them to do that. That's cool. If that's you, that's you. That's not a problem that I have. Well, thank you, PJ. I do appreciate that, man. You didn't need to do that, but I do appreciate that, so thank you. Yeah, no, good luck, Eric. I wish you all the best with that, man. I wish everybody the best during all this stuff. Yeah, no, that's it. If I could get like all 1,500, imagine that 1,500 of my subscribers on YouTube to pledge $1. That's insanity. Like that kind of money is ridiculous, but that's not what I'm trying to do. It's if it happened, it happened. But anyway, I gotta get going. Lena needs a blanket. It sounds like so. Anyway, thank you guys so much. And if I don't see you soon, just know I'm working on scripts, and we will be drawing soon. Okay, so thank you so much. Appreciate you guys' time. Take care of yourselves. Keep reading comics. Keep making comics, and I will talk to you later. Bye bye.